Hello students, today let us study about the wilt diseases in plants which are caused by bacteria. So usually the wilt is a generalized symptom that is seen when the xylem vessels get plugged in case of any pathogen or any disease. But bacterial wilt is usually seen in cases of herbaceous plants such as vegetable plants or ornamentals or tropical plants. There are several organisms belonging to different genera which can cause the wilt diseases. Given here are some of the more common ones like Clavibacter. So there is Clavibacter michiganense. There are two subspecies, Cepedonicum, which causes ring rot of potato, and subspecies michiganense, which causes wilt of tomato. Then we have Erwinia trachyphylla, which causes wilt in cucurbits, whereas Erwinia amylovora causes fire blight of pome fruits like apple. There is Ralstonia, which causes bacterial wilt of solanaceous crops like potato, and Xanthomonas campestris, which causes black rot, or it is also called as black vein in crucifers. So these are some of the common organisms which cause the wilt disease. Now, in any wilt disease, whichever the organism is, the main reason for drooping or wilting or even death of plants is because the organism is going to move through the xylem. So, the bacteria will interfere with the translocation of water and nutrients and it will move through the xylem. This is what results in drooping of the plant and finally the death of the plant. Based on the pathogen, based on which bacterial pathogen it is, the pathogen can overwinter. I have been telling you about overwintering. It is the process wherein the pathogen is going to survive the harsh environmental conditions. So the pathogen can overwinter either in the plant debris, in the soil, or in the seed, or in the vegetative propagation material, or in some cases even in the insect vectors. So based on which pathogen it is, the overwintering will differ. But in all the cases, the pathogen, the bacterial pathogen, will enter the plant through wounds which is exposing the vascular bundle or the vascular element. So through such wounds, the organism enters inside and then it goes inside the xylem where it is going to cause blockage of the xylem. So in fungal wilts, which we have already dealt before in a previous video, the fungi usually remain in the vascular tissues until the death of the plant. So almost exclusively they will remain in the vascular tissue. But in case of bacterial wilts, the organism not only survives in the vascular tissue, not only stays or multiplies in the xylem vessel, it can also destroy or dissolve the cell wall of the xylem vessels at various points. It causes, when it is dissolving these cell walls, it causes them to rupture, and that is why the organism will spread further. So the organism spreads and multiplies in the adjacent parenchyma tissue which is along the vascular bundle at various points. So it will, as the organism moves along the vessels at various points, it will kill and dissolve the cells and cause the formation of pockets or cavities which are full of bacteria or the gums produced by bacteria and even cellular debris. So this is the main difference between fungal wilts and bacterial wilts. Bacterial wilts will lead to pockets of bacteria in the adjacent parenchyma tissue adjacent to the xylem vessel. Whereas in fungal wilt, what happens is the organism is exclusively present in near the or in the vascular bundle. Now, we will be concentrating on bacterial wilt of cucurbits, which is caused by Erwinia trachyphylla. This organism is a gram-negative rod which belongs to Enterobacteriaceae family. This organism survives only for a few weeks in the infected plant debris, but it can survive for a long time or it can overwinter in the intestine of striped cucumber beetles and spotted cucumber beetles. So these are two insect vectors. In these vectors or in the intestines of these vectors, the organism is going to overwinter. So this organism causes bacterial wilt of cucurbitaceae, which includes cucumber, cantaloupe, squash, pumpkin. There are different vegetables which are involved under this. Watermelon is resistant to this pathogen, but all the other cucurbitaceae members are susceptible, and this is a disease that is seen in or across the globe. So this pathogen enters the plant or enters the host through an open tissue, and we can see that once the organism has infected the xylem vessel, when we check the xylem vessel or when we microscopically observe the vessels, we can see several bacteria in the xylem vessel. As the disease progresses, either some of the xylem vessels or all of the xylem vessels get clogged with almost solidified mixtures of polysaccharides, or it can be proteins or gums that are released by these bacteria, which leads to a blocking of the passage of water and nutrients. So what basically happens here is the organism, once it has entered inside through a wound or through some area, once it has entered inside the vascular bundle, it multiplies over there. It releases several compounds that are basically solidified mixtures, due to which it completely blocks the passage of water and nutrients. And because it blocks the passage of these water and nutrients, the plant starts drooping or wilting and finally dies. So the bacteria are spread by the contaminated mouth parts of these beetles, that is the striped cucumber beetles and the spotted cucumber beetles. Moving on to the disease cycle. So you can see in the cycle over here, the organism will be transmitted from the diseased plants. This is the diseased plant. From the diseased plant, the organism will enter into the beetles when these beetles feed on the infected plant. So when the beetles feed on the infected plant, the bacteria will enter into the striped and the spotted cucumber beetles. Once it enters these beetles, it can overwinter in these beetles, in the intestine of these beetles. And as the beetles feed on a new plant, these bacteria are transferred into that new plant. So when the beetles are feeding on any new plant, they are going to their mouth parts are going to transfer these bacteria onto that plant. These bacteria will now multiply. They will be deposited with the insected feces on the leaf wounds, and the bacteria multiply in the sap at the margins of the wound. So you can see over here, the bacteria will multiply at the margins of the wound. This bacteria will then enter the xylem vessels of the leaf vein. It will move down the petiole. It will move down into the vine, into the stem. Entire plant, it will keep multiplying. And we can see that when we observe the tissue, bacteria is found in the vascular bundles of the vine. So we can see that the bacteria are growing in the vascular bundles. These bacteria, through the vascular bundles, and I told you in the parenchymatous tissue, they will multiply. So they will spread to the adjacent vessels because they are now able to dissolve the cell wall. They are able to dissolve the cell wall and get out into the parenchymatous tissue. Once they enter over there, they multiply in the remaining tissue. They fill and they clog the vessels of the plant, either due to the bacterial growth and along with that due to all the polysaccharides and gums that they produce. When they clog the xylem vessel of the plant or vascular bundle of the plant is unable to survive and it will completely wilt and die. Meanwhile, in the beetles, this organism will overwinter. So when that beetle lays eggs, these eggs are now the new or young cucurbit plants which are there. They are going to be attacked by the larva of the beetle. The larva will survive in the soil, and the emerging adults will become contaminated when they feed on any plant which is having this bacterial pathogen in it. So this is how the beetle is going to carry. This cycle is to show how the beetle is going to carry the pathogen, and this cycle is to show how the pathogen is going to survive in the Cucurbitaceae member or in the Cucurbitaceae plant. Moving on to the symptoms of the disease. So the first symptom is that the leaves start drooping. You can see in the picture over here, the leaves start drooping, followed by the wilting of the spine. Now the wilt progression will vary from one crop to the other. So in cucumbers and melons, it is seen that they wilt immediately or they die rapidly. Whereas in pumpkins, it can take 2 to 3 weeks. In squash, it can take several weeks. Even though it is infected, it will not wilt so easily. So in every Cucurbitaceae member, the wilting progression will vary, but at the end, the leaves will droop. If it is left unchecked, the leaves will droop, followed by wilting of the vine. When the infected vines are cut, if the infected stems are cut and they're pressed together, we can see droplets of ooze appearing on the surface. I'll show you pictures later as well. And when the stem is pulled apart or when the cut sections are pulled apart, we can see white thread-like strands. This is basically due to you can see over here, there are white thread-like strands, which is due to the bacterial ooze. That is, the bacteria is filled in the xylem vessel, and that is what is shown as the bacterial ooze. The other symptom is that the stems become soft, they become pale, they will later towards the end, they will shrivel, become hard and dry. So you can see the hard and dry stems over here. So the main symptom is wilting due to the xylem vessels getting blocked up. There is ooze when the stem is pulled apart and pressed, and the stem is going to become hard and dry towards the end stage of the disease. You can see over here in the first picture, most of the vessels are in the wilted leaf are partially or totally blocked. You can see here it is partially blocked. This one is totally blocked. So we can see that there are gel-like materials which have been produced, due to which it is getting blocked. In this case, it is a much more progressed stage. Here you can see that there are several vessels, and all the xylem vessels, almost all the xylem vessels have been completely plugged due to the solid mixture of gels and gums that have been produced by the pathogen. So the disease control, mainly the disease can be controlled by controlling these beetles. This is the striped and the spotted cucumber beetles. Controlling of these insect vectors is what has been proved to be the best control measure to tackle this disease. Apart from that, roguing of the infected plants. Roguing is basically identifying and removing the plants which are having or which have been infected. So roguing of the infected plants is another disease control measure that can be done. And use of resistant varieties. Once a plant has been infected by this disease, there is no use of a pesticide. It will not help the plant because the bacteria is already present inside. So any of these three measures can be done to control the disease. This is just a gallery to show you what are the different the different species or different plants which have been affected. The first one, this one is the fire blight on apple that I told you is caused by Erwinia amylovora. Then we have two pictures which show, if we go clockwise, we have two pictures which are showing the bacterial wilt of potato that is caused by Ralstonia solanacearum. So you can see over here there is a healthy plant and there is a wilted plant. And on the potato as well, we can see ooze, bacterial ooze that is there, white droplets. The last picture is the wilt of tomato, which is caused by Clavibacter michiganense. So in all of these diseases, like I have told you earlier, you need to write about the symptoms. The organism may change, but the symptoms are usually the same. That is wilting due to blocking of the xylem vessels, why the xylem vessel gets blocked, and what are the control measures. This is what you need to write about under bacterial wilt diseases. Thank you.